All right, we are back here again on Saturday, the last Saturday of July, last day of July too.
Whoa,
Yes.
pretty
Uh,
crazy.
and we are talking about episodes 3 to 5 of Power Rangers Time Force. But before we get into those, what have you guys been up to this week? Like any new stuff? Has there been any Power Rangers news that's dropped over like recently?
Not really, not that
No.
I know of. So
I do see that people are still talking about the split. Like
I'm done talking about that.
like
just
seriously,
we'll get there
I'm
when
like,
we get there. I mean, like we
exactly.
still have
Yeah.
another season of Dino Fury to get to.
right?
So
Like my thing right now is I just can't believe that people are still going on about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's
talking
been a
about
year.
it. Like
It's been a
I would
year.
understand if it was just like people talking back and forth about you know, like whether they think it's going to happen or when they think
Yeah.
it's going to happen or what they think is going to happen because of it or whether they don't think it's going to happen. But just the amount of people that are like, no, you guys are liars. Like just
I mean, we had a video come out
this week
where we straight up talked to the Beast Morphers cast and said, "Hey, it looks like they're going in a new direction. Would you be willing to do something with the voice acting role or whatever?" And they just like without question said, "Yeah, you know, that'd be sick." So they know what's going on. You
yeah,
know?
I don't know. Like I honestly I don't really want to talk about it that much, just because I don't want
Yeah.
to bring even more undue attention to that side
I
of
don't like
things.
talking. I don't like talking about it at all
Yeah.
anymore.
It's just one of those things. Like it's just fandoms in general, and I mean, you all of us have had this conversation before that. Like not just Power Rangers, but you know it exists in Star Wars and Star Trek and like My Little Pony, like every
My Little
fandom
Pony.
out there that has like a somewhat vocal group to it is going to have that element in it
Yeah.
that just kind of is weird for whatever reason. But
I mean, yeah. I mean, you don't have to believe it, but at least observe what's going on around you and see that, you know, even if you don't want to believe exactly that they're ditching Sentai, without going too much into stuff I'm not supposed to talk about, um without, you know, you can see that they're definitely trying new things and doing different stuff.
yeah,
And so
which is fine, and I mean honestly, that right there kind of ties into some of the things I wanted to talk about with the episodes that we're going into today, because there's a bunch of stuff that I really did enjoy in these 3 episodes. I know I gave the first 2 episodes kind of a hard time, just for you know various reasons. That's not to say, you know, like me giving
most of those reasons was just to piss off Blackwing.
I mean, some of them are. But honestly, as someone who like does really deep dives into like media and art and that kind of stuff, like you know, like film reviews and like actual criticism, sometimes it's hard for me to look at something and realize that I'm coming across like I don't like it versus coming across like I'm just like pointing out all these things. Like I love Die Hard. Die Hard is probably my favorite Christmas movie. Independence Day is one of my favorite disaster movies. But I can sit there and rip those apart and be like, well, why did John McClane do this? This didn't make any sense. Or how did Jeff Goldblum build write a virus for an alien computer system that he didn't know about? Like I can do that
in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, like I can do that all day long. That doesn't mean that I didn't like it. It just means that I recognize that there's problems with the story, and that's you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
But joining us today in the chat, we've got Edward Sanchez Productions. Hello, thank you for joining us. Power Rangers Rock, Thomas Franco, Jared Hodges, Craig Anderson, and Metal Ryan Gaming, who I also saw on our Twitch feed 2 weeks ago when Jamie and I were playing Star Trek Online, so thank you for joining us there. But today, again, we are into episodes 3, 4, and 5. Which one of you would like to give us the breakdown for episode 3?
I'll do episode 3 since
All
it's
right.
kind of a continuation from the first 2 episodes. So basically,
they're all kind of continuations.
not just these first 3 kind of feel very. The first 3 kind of feel very intertwined as well. So pretty much where we left off, Jen took Wes's morpher and now the Rangers. Jen feels like we don't need him, so but the other Rangers feel like I think maybe we do. So Nadira, being the spoiled brat as she is, she's robbing a bank. Wes tries to stop her, and without his morpher, and of course he kind of gets a little bit jumped. He gets a little ambushed, and so Jen has to bail him out, help him out, take down Nadira, and then Jen gives Wes like legit real talk, like you never had to fight for anything in your life. You never had. It's kind of like that moment in MCU where Cap tells Iron Man, like, when it's down to the wire, you're not the one to make the second hand play. Like, you're not the one to lay down the sacrifice. And Wes was like, and it made Wes think about everything that he's done, because he's right. He's just been, everything's been given to him, and I can actually relate to that. Like, when you have like everything's just given to you. And when he came to Jen, he was like, you're right, I never had to fight for anything in my life. It's a very realistic thing, because we all go through those points in life where we're all given so much, but when it comes to the time for us to get what we want ourselves, it's just like, shoot.
But I mean that's actually, so when I talk about Star Trek with Jamie, like when we were talking, like, or like with anyone, and like Deep Space Nine specifically, but also with Enterprise, our recent rewatch of season 1, some of the themes in there that come across. I know, Bryce, you finished season 1 of Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Some of the themes and the ideas behind the episodes there are very relevant to societal issues that we have today. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about sci-fi, is that it takes people out of the contemporary element that we know them in today and puts these social issues in context of alien races, or like other futuristic problems that people are having, so that it gives you a different perspective than the one that you might have. And I actually think they did a really good job of doing that with Wes. Because like you said, like she pointed out to him that he has all of this privilege, that he's never really had to worry about doing anything else his entire life, because he is that, he's that rich kid that, even if everyone doesn't know him personally, they've all had run-ins with that kind of a guy.
Yeah.
And so we can all relate on one level or another. But when Wes got back to his house and you saw him thinking about that, like that conversation that he had with Jen, like you could see that he was like, all right, well, maybe I am taking, like,
taking things for granted.
Yeah. Even though you could tell that he doesn't want to. Like, it seems like he's conflicted in that. He just
didn't know. He didn't. It never came to like realization for him until at that point.
Yeah, well, it's one of the, like, I loved it. Have either of you guys watched Arrested Development?
No.
I've watched like the first season, I think, but it was like a long time ago.
I'm sure you've probably seen the meme though that's floating around the internet. It's Jessica Walters, and she's like, "It's a banana. What could it cost? $10?" And she's just like this ultra rich lady who's just like completely out of touch with reality and how much things cost in real life. And that to me, that kind of feels like who Wes's family is. Not necessarily him, or not necessarily him after now, but that kind of it works. And Jason Font, honestly, like, he's actually a good actor. I don't know why I'm saying actually. Like, I've met him before and had a conversation with him. He's like a very charming guy. So it makes sense that he would be, that kind of person on screen too, which helps. I think that's going to help me get through this season a little bit more than some of the past seasons too, because just seeing, he looks like he's having fun. Like, if you watch like some of the past couple of seasons, some of the actors looked like they were just there
doing their job.
They were doing their jobs. They were saying their lines and didn't like, some of them looked like they were having, like, Mike Chat always looked like he was having a good time. But some of the others, maybe not so much. But he just, like, honestly looks like he's enjoying himself, and that's one of the things I like about Brendan Fraser too. Like, Journey to the Center of the Earth is not a good movie, but
you're gonna see that kind of stale act. I mean, not the having fun part. I'm talking about like the stale acting of like just them just doing their job. You're gonna see that a lot in the Nickelodeon seasons, because that's pretty much what it felt like. Because...
Well, and it's so weird though with that, because because it always seems like, you know, you hear these Neo Saban actors come out and they say, you know, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, but such and such producer wouldn't allow it or something. Like it really seemed like in the Neo Saban era, they purposely dumbed down the acting, and I'm not quite sure why, because the same people who worked on Neo Saban, a lot of them worked in the old Saban. So
Exactly.
I really that the whole Neo Saban era is just such a big, like, what happened there
Like,
Yeah,
for
really
me.
what happened.
I can understand that. But outside of like I think it's Operation Overdrive. I think
Mhm.
the next season that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know which one it is, so I apologize. But the one that Steven Skyler is in.
Oh,
Oh,
Samurai.
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 That
And
was that's
that's
probably
Disney, right?
no,
No, that's Saban.
but it's one of the better
Is it
ones.
pre Disney or post Disney?
Post
Post.
Disney.
Post. Okay, because like I know Steven Skyler.
Yeah.
Just because you know we met him at a convention once. We ended up working with him a couple of times. Just on other stuff. But
So you got a while.
yeah, so I know him. And it's that kind of a thing is also weird for me because like you know like I know a few actors. One of a friend of mine from high school was on Stargate Universe. He's been in like a couple of other things, but watching shows that he's in and knowing him, like it kind of pulls me out a little bit
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, that's my buddy David from high school, or you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
So it's kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Continue on with this episode.
So yeah, Jen gives Wes the morpher. She gives him another chance. They morph. They have this vehicle that is, I could say, like a team vehicle, the Time Jet, which allows them to get around quicker. And also, I'm tripping on the
That was the
words.
one that they were riding, right?
Yeah,
That
the
they all
one that
jumped
they
onto?
ride.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that they ride together.
So here's one of my first questions about this.
Oh boy, here we
Yeah,
go.
I promise it's not that bad. But before we get to that, I just want to get to the chat. Layla Nolan gave us $5 super chat. Thank you, Layla. And although I feel sorry for you for having a sinus infection because I've been there, I am glad that you're home and watching us. So
Get well, sis.
yeah, I hope that feels better because you those are not great.
Yeah.
But Craig Anderson also said that what's really sad is that even the Megaforce cast didn't really like their season.
And that's saying
Don't blame
something.
them.
I don't blame.
I mean,
I don't.
I haven't seen it, so I can't really.
It's one of, if not the worst. So
Okay,
Ninja Steel's up there too.
but my which is a shame because I really like Peter Sidarso.
Yo, yeah, Peter Sidarso, yeah.
They
he's
really did not give Peter enough to do, and that's the shame.
He didn't
That's the
have
sad
anything.
part.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of episodes of Ninja Steel, but I can't judge it as a full season because I didn't watch the whole
Yeah.
thing.
He's really
but,
great in Hyper Force.
My question about the ship
The Time Jet.
Yeah, which looks basically like the thing that Flash Gordon was riding in Flash Gordon, just bigger for more people. It seemed like they had ridden that thing before.
You're gonna see that thing a lot.
Right,
a-
but specifically.
Oh
here,
wait, I know what you're saying. I know what you're-
So when they pull it out, they all jump onto it. It was because Jen was like, "Here, let me help you," and she drags Wes up to it. It felt like they had ridden on that thing before, but in the first two episodes, we were talking about how we didn't think that they had been Power Rangers previously. And just the way they jumped up onto it, and the way she was like, "Oh, here, let me show you how to do this."
I mean, it's possible that they could have been being trained to become
I'm pretty sure they had like a
I
training.
mean, I don't know that for sure.
Right. And that's like honestly, after seeing this episode, that's something that I'm looking forward to finding out throughout the course of the season. I don't know if that's going to be dug into, but it kind of feels now like Bryce said, like they were maybe Power Rangers in training, and they just hadn't gotten the morphers yet, which would explain why Wes had one and they didn't yet.
Or
you mean
Alex,
Alex,
yeah.
You know.
Alex, yeah, right. Yeah,
That's actually a good question. That does bring up a good point because like Alex had one, but the others didn't get one yet. But
right, yeah. So that's what I was talking about last week. Was I didn't understand why he was a Power Ranger, but none of the other ones were unlocked for anyone. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I see your point.
But now it kind of seems like maybe maybe they just hadn't gotten theirs yet. But I don't know.
Probably didn't have the need for all 5 of them. They just needed one.
That could be too, because with so many perfect people in the world, like maybe they only needed the one ranger.
Right.
I don't know, but that's something that's another question I'll have, but I'll hold that one until we get to the next episode. But before we continue again, Larry Newbill, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. He said Blackwing is not impressed with Overdrive.
You want to hear my opinions about Overdrive? Check out my Operation Overdrive review on my channel. I reviewed every single season of Power Rangers on my channel last year. All of them are up there, so go check it out. Knock yourself out.
There we go.
If you can't put it into the chat, link them to it.
Oh, my channel or the video?
The video.
Either.
Yeah, I guess either. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was definitely a missed opportunity. I think it could have been one of the coolest seasons, but then they just kind of didn't really dive as much into it as they should have.
I don't know. Joe showed me the first episode because like we were doing this thing a while ago where we would pick like one episode of a show to try and get someone into the series. So like for me, that's how I got Joe into Star Trek. Was I showed him an episode of Deep Space Nine and a documentary about it. And after that, he was like, "Okay, I need to go back. I need to start watching this from the beginning because this is what I really like." Which is something fun. I like. I would love to bring that back as like a podcast or something. Like just
that'd be cool.
All like a show that no one else has seen, and just try and get someone interested into it.
Yeah.
But sorry, Blackwing. Go ahead and continue after the time cruiser ship.
So yeah,
skateboard.
I keep just remembering that this episode is also the first Megazord battle of the season. So yeah, we get the Time Flyers. The Megazord has 2 formations: mode blue, which is meant for speed, and mode red, which is meant for power or using the finisher. One thing I forgot to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but remember how in the beginning of the first battle, the Rangers are dodging bullets like bullet time in the Matrix?
Yeah.
And
so I was going to bring that up this week too.
Yeah, and how in the Megazord battle, the Megazord's shooting at the monster in midair, and the camera's doing the whole 360 revolution, just like the Matrix. I'm just like, wow. I guess the Matrix kind of inspired this a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's obvious from a couple of different things that happened.
When did the Matrix come out?
The
99.
Matrix came out in 99.
Oh, never mind.
So it says it was a few years after it. But the helmets. So and we'll get to the future stuff in a second too, because like I have even more questions about that you're probably gonna hate, but I have to ask. But the Matrix was a clear inspiration for the season because when they needed to learn how to do something else, the information was downloaded into the helmet, and then they got it. So I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get where this is going. And even like outside of the 360 shot like you were talking about before, like they did the bullet time in like all these episodes. They paused, and the Saber did the countdown thing, and then when both things hit 12,
yeah, the time strike.
Then I was like, oh, this is dope. Like I legit was like, this is a cool thing. I do wish that the intro of the Zords into the episode was a little bit faster. It seems like it's taking up a lot of time.
You feel it was a little slow?
Not necessarily slow. Just the entire sequence was just too long for me, I think.
I just
it just ate up. Like for the first introduction, I was fine with it, but then when it happened again in the next 2 episodes, I was like, all right, I could see myself getting kind of sick of this in like 2 or 3 episodes.
I mean, you see one Megazord battle, you've seen them all, so you already know what's going.
But it's not even just a battle. It's just like the Zords coming from the future into the past, which is a Terminator, which also a Terminator thing, because they mentioned that they couldn't send actual people to the past, but they could send machines and tools to them.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that's like the Terminator type thing where they can send the opposite of the Terminator, like in Terminator world, you can send flesh and blood back through time, but you can't send machines, which is why the Terminator had to be covered in flesh. In this, they can send machines, but they can't send people.
Yeah, a little bit different. But yeah.
But so this is my question about the time travel thing, since you brought up the Zords. So in pushing out the Zords, there's that giant Zord with the T on the chest that does like the golf swing thing and knocks them through the time portal.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you need.
It's gotta knock it in there. I mean, they gotta get it. They gotta get it in there somehow.
Like But I mean, just like, I understand. Well, it's Power Rangers. Like, I get that, but why would you build it so that you had to have this giant like golf course thing,
because
like
you have the
putt golf
velocity
course thing,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like have you ever seen Back to the Future? It has to go like super fast.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
the ships were on rails. It was like on a aircraft carrier that has the the aircraft line that goes across the ground and pushes them forward so that they can get momentum.
There's no one in there to drive it.
I guess it's just such a bizarre thing to me that this thing looks like it. Honestly, it looks like it should be in either a pinball machine or on a putt golf course.
If you and by the way, folks, if you want to see another weird golf subplot, tune into Retro Sentai wrap up.
Oh God.
Right after this show, because there's a weird sort of golf related plot in those episodes too.
Yeah.
So,
It's also weird that came up. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Getting off topic, we'll come back in just a second. Have you guys seen a show on Netflix called Daybreak?
Nope.
It's basically like an apocalypse thing where all the biological weapons drop. All the adults are turned into like zombie type things, but all the kids are fine. And Matthew Broderick is like the principal of the school.
Oh wow.
It's really bizarre, but like after the apocalypse, all the kids from the high school form groups based off of the cliques that they were in. So like there's like all the cheerleaders turned into cheermazons. So there is the people from the Beverly Hills were like the disciples of Kardashian or something like that. But then there were the jocks, and a subgroup of the jocks was the golf club.
wow.
And it was
That's really amazing.
It's
Wow.
only one season. It got canceled. There's no season 2, but season 1 it was stupid, but it was fun. So if you guys get a chance, you should watch it.
There you go. Yeah. Start a change.org petition. We'll revive it because those always work.
Do those?
Right? So,
I was about to say those never work.
no. I can't think of a single change.org petition that actually did anything.
I know of campaigns. Like there was a campaign to renew Chuck that got Subway. They Subway got involved and gave them the money for that. Subway also contributed to keeping a Community on the air. Jericho from like back in the early 2000s, there was some kind of a weird campaign for that got renewed for a second season.
I think there was some weird one with it was some DC movie. I can't remember what it was called. Yes, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
The Snyder cut.
That the small little indie film that came. I'm gonna be pissing off so much. I liked the movie. Okay, it's a joke.
There's another one happening right now for Manifest. Manifest is like a really weird one because it's rated like so many people are watching on Netflix. It is the #1 show on Netflix right now, and they haven't been able to find anyone to pick it up. And NBC was just like, "No, we're gonna keep it canceled." So bizarre. Anyway. Back to Power Rangers.
So yeah, Megazord defeats the monster. They say how they capture the mutants once the mutant DNA is exposed, which causes them to grow. So the finisher attack is supposed to compress the DNA. I mean, not suppress the DNA so they can go back into the canisters, and that's how it ends. And of course, Jen tells them to keep the Morpher because they're from a different time period, and they're like, we need you to help us, go through this, this era of time.
Right.
We're not from here.
Yeah, it's kind of like Power Rangers in space, where they helped Andros kind of acclimate to life on Earth.
Yeah. So yeah,
they brought him to high school for a few episodes, then they completely forgot about it.
Yeah, I'm just like, why is he even here? I'm like, he doesn't even. And then sooner or later, you don't see the Rangers in high school anymore. Like no graduation.
Yeah, that was weird. But I don't know. So what would you guys rate this episode? Hey, you guys in the chat, what would you rate this to?
I give it a 4.5, especially mainly because of the issue of wanting to do what you want, or just basically just that whole moment of just like fighting for what you want, or just getting what you want for your own, like having that desire, that burning desire inside you to go for it. So I definitely gotta give that 4.5 because as I was talking about it, I just had like a realization moment. I was like, wow, that actually really hits home. So
Yeah.
definitely 4.5 out of 5.
Bryce.
Yeah, I give it a 4. It's definitely a solid episode. I don't really have any major issues with it. It's nothing like absolutely like crazy, but I think it's a good continuation of the first 2 parts. We get to see a little more of Wes kind of becoming acclimated to the team becoming acclimated to Wes. So yeah, it's gonna be nice to once again see the team form together, the relationships build. So I definitely think that this season definitely has kind of like Jetman, like the team really kind of like they all have like really good bonds with each other. I mean, there's some characters that don't get as much focus as others, but for the most part, I think this is a very close team. I definitely like that about Time Force, and so yeah, I'm excited to get further into it.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna agree with Bryce. I give this episode a 4. There are still like I said. So it's complaints, but not like really complaints. I think the Zord introduction kind of took too long. It just I'm just like watching. I'm like, can we get on with it now? It just it just to me it slowed down the episode.
I understand.
I think the time that was spent showing us the Zords coming through the portal could have been better used with additional character moments to help kind of build those characters up. Whether
Man,
they
you're
were
not gonna like the morph sequence in Samurai.
whether
That's like half the episode.
the actual
Bruh.
Power Rangers team, or whether it's more development for the villains or side characters or whatever. I think that time could have been better spent. But overall, I did really enjoy this episode. I thought
Yeah.
it did a good job of fleshing out what we were going to see out of Wes. Or at least giving us an idea of the kind of person that Wes is, and even the kind of person that Jen is. And what's the name of the alien dude?
Trip.
And we even got a little bit more out of him, and to see like who he was and where like his mindset is. We didn't really see anything out of the other 2 characters. Deborah, I can't think.
Katie.
Katie and Lucas.
And Lucas, yeah.
I just wanted to call him Michael Capon.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's my problem, because I know like most of these guys by their real names, not by their ranger names. So it's you're gonna have to bear with me on that. Like eventually I'll get all their names correct, right? But it'll be a little while. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a really solid episode, and just like every Power Rangers episode I've talked about, the issue for me was a little bit of the pacing.
That's fair.
In the chat, we've got Power Rangers Rock, who gives it a 5. Matthew Thompson gives it a 4 out of 5. Thomas Franco gives it a 5. And Layla gives it a 4.5 out of 5. She says that we see a few seeds being planted as early as this epised for what's coming in the future. And yeah, I could easily see those.
In the future, you say?
This next episode 4, I actually felt like we got more hints about things to come in episode 4 than we did in episode 3, though.
I wish we had Joe here, because Joe always references this episode onto why he thinks Time Force is not really that great of a season. But anyway, Bryce,
this next episode?
Yeah, this particular episode.
Episode 3 or episode 4 that we're moving on
4.
to? Okay. Bryce, you want to give us a rundown for episode 4?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to interrupt you a lot, like I did with Jonathan, so just be aware.
Yeah, sure.
And I got facts. I got some facts. I got facts coming for this.
Man, okay. Well, this is gonna be interesting. So this is episode 4, Ransik Lives. This is basically we in this episode we get the first appearance of the base that we're gonna be having throughout the rest of the season, and we also get a little more into Ransik's backstory. But but we basically start the episode with the team going, "Oh, I'm hungry. I don't have a place to live." It's just like you guys have been going on for this long, and you guys haven't bothered to like try to like get some food or like.
Okay. So first, first question that I'm going to interrupt you for. They're able to send the team things from the future,
but they didn't send any money.
Right? Can't they just like replicate money or something valuable that they could use? Or like even
that is
parts,
against the law.
or
Yeah,
even
that's counterfeit money.
okay, so not money, but they could send them parts to build a base.
Yeah.
Like all their shit was just sitting there on the beach. They could have sent them in like, here's a habitat that you guys can build right here. That it was just like,
oh, you got anything?
No, I have no facts.
Oh,
for this.
okay.
Not for this one.
Oh man, shucks. So Wes comes by and says like, "Yo, like, what are y'all doing? Come with me." And so I guess his dad happens to conveniently own a unused clock tower. And so, and it's like super dirty and messy. But it's gonna be their home. I do actually, John. I don't want to burst your bubble any more than Josh and Corey already have, but wouldn't like it eventually wouldn't somebody find out like his dad or something that like a bunch of like four strangers are living in his clock tower that he owns?
They'll find. Oh, trust me. They'll find out sooner or later. They will. Trust me.
I have a theory about how that's going to play out too.
Because I don't really remember, because it's been like a super long time.
But his father actually does find out about the clock tower anyway.
Yeah.
So
So okay, so I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit because there's I some questions. I know you guys are probably gonna have answers for me. Well, you might have answers for me. So they get to the clock tower. They're like, oh, this is a dump. Jen goes to the window, sees that they can see everything outside, but no one's gonna be able to see them in here. And she's like, oh no, this place would actually be perfect. And they look around. They're like, okay, yeah, I guess it can be. So they start working on cleaning it up. Some random dude comes to the building, having found that this used to be like a business that did like odd jobs, and then he takes his handkerchief out of his pocket and wipes off the door. Shouldn't the fact that was so covered in dirt been like a clue to him that place wasn't still active?
Oh, just I guess it's what's we call it? Plot armor. That's pretty much what it is. Plot armor.
But this does lead to what I think is going to be one of the things that kind of holds the series together for me. Because what I'm assuming is that after they found out this week or in this episode that, oh hey, we can take odd jobs and we can make money and we can use this money to buy food and like other things, that's going to continue throughout the season, right? They're gonna that this place is going to turn into a full-on odd job business, that they are going to take jobs so that they can survive in 2001 or whatever year it's supposed to be.
01. Yeah.
My next question tied to that. Well, not question. I don't spoil this for me, but this is going to be my guess, is that Wes's dad is going to find out what's happened there, that there's people staying there and that there's people using it, and Wes is going to be like, look, I just needed to prove that I can do something on my own. I've built this business up from scratch and it's now successful, so I can pull my own way and I can do my own thing, and look at me, daddy, be proud of me.
I'll say you got like 50% of that right.
Okay.
I'm not saying what. I'll say you just got 50% of that right.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, Bryce, you can continue.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I mean, if you wanted to cover this episode, Josh, you could have just said so. Okay,
just that part for now. I'll cut you off again, I promise.
Yeah. Well,
I sense another cutoff coming.
Surprise. Anywho, yeah. Remind me not to have you as a guest on Retro Sentai. Anyway. So Wes and Jen leave to do the odd job at this TV station, and then Ransik is having like a episode or something where he's going like and then there's something wrong with him, and then he takes this like medicine or whatever, and then he has this like plan to like broadcast to the world that he's here and that they should surrender or whatever. And so Wes and Jen happen to be at the TV station that Ransik is going to take over. And they kind of attack. Jen left to go get more paint because Wes spilled it over or whatever, and then they take Wes like as like a captive or something. And the Rangers are like, oh no, they're at the TV station. Jen, you better get there. And Jen's like, I'm already here. So meanwhile in the TV studio, Ransik, goes on air, says, hey, you should surrender in 1 hour. Which, how are you gonna make like at the time of recording this, it was probably a little less than 7 billion people all retire within surrender in 1 hour like that. I don't know what he was expecting to happen there. But and then Wes goes like what are you doing? Like this is like evil, like that's a no. And then Ransik goes like, yeah, but like nobody cares about me. They hated me. I turned into a mutant because like evil science crap. And Wes goes like, I don't care. And you should be good anyway. And so
okay, so this is probably where you thought
this is where I know the cutoff is coming.
So okay, so I couldn't tell in the episode, but when the slime that turned Ransik into Ransik like went down to the sewer, was he living down there or did he grow out of that slime?
He grew out of it.
Okay, so now I got a question.
How?
Well, and then also, how is Nadira his daughter? Do they say that?
There's no answer for that.
I don't remember if they say that.
So I'm assuming that she's his daughter in the same way that Gamora is Thanos' daughter.
Maybe adopted, I guess. Yeah.
Like that because yeah, that was one of my questions too. But like looking at it, I'm like, okay, it's probably if we look at the past few seasons of Power Rangers that we've watched here, like in space and Lost Galaxy, we had children that weren't necessarily children of the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Like Astronema wasn't really
Ecliptor's daughter.
Yeah, Ecliptor's daughter, but he treated her that way.
He was like a father figure.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's the same thing here. With the slime, so I'm assuming that the container that fell was like an actual like embryo of some kind, because it looked like they were doing like eugenics shit in the future and growing kids out of test tubes like they did in Man of Steel on Krypton.
Probably, yeah, because
But so my question, my real question about this though is why did he grow out fully grown? We saw that couple get a baby, so we know that the people who came out of them weren't fully grown, but he was.
He's like a super mutant.
Yeah, remember mutation. Mutation is
yeah.
Mutation
so is it because it went into the sewer? Like is he like a teenage mutant?
No, he's like a. He's like how the Bad Batch are kind of like defective clones. That's like what Ransik is, and like and like if that tube didn't fall down, like some family was gonna get like a full grown man as like a child or something.
It just it doesn't that doesn't so much bother me because sci-fi. It was just one of those things where I was like, wait. Did I miss something, or did this just happen? So I'm assuming that it just kind of happened. It's like a Bebop and Rocksteady type thing.
Yeah. I just don't question it, but I never especially a question like that about how Ransik is like a full grown mutant adult.
See, this is why I'm on the show, to ask the really hard hitting questions.
And this is why I try to avoid these questions. Just enjoy the show.
But this is how these discussions but this is the point of the show, is to have these discussions. So
I guess I see your point.
Otherwise, we're just gonna be talking about, okay, this is what happened in the episode. Great, we'll talk to you later.
Okay,
there's no conversation at that point.
I guess that's what makes the wrap up more entertaining.
So I'm looking at the Ranger wiki right now, and it literally says, through unknown methods, Ransik gained a daughter named Nadira. so yeah, there's no explanation to how that works.
Layla Layla has a theory. She says, "My theory on Nadira is that she's half human, half mutant, which could explain that ugly ass wig."
Yeah, Layla does not like Nadira's wig. She hates it with a burning passion. She hates that wig with a burning passion.
What about the nails? How do you feel about her nails?
I mean, it's a good weapon. I'll say that. It's a good weapon.
It's like Megan, that episode of Family Guy where they all got superpowers and her powers were to make her fingernails grow.
She's like whatchamacallit, Lady Deathstrike from X-Men.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Except one of her nails got broken.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh yeah, Jen shot one of them off.
Wait, was that this episode or next episode?
Previous episode.
Man. Wow, it's pretty crazy. So anyway, I think I'm gonna finish the episode now, if that's okay with you, Josh. Anyway.
I guess.
The Rangers come in, they like what they get Wes out, like there's this TV monster that they gotta destroy. And Ransik is like, see you guys, like hate you, and so they do like a bunch of Megazord stuff, which is pretty typical. Then they defeat the monster, and then they celebrate at the end of the episode with their successful
pizza.
With their successful odd job with pizza, and they say that they're going to continue the business. So
I find it funny how as soon as the guy leaves after paying them, the pizza guy shows up. He's like, "Somebody ordered pizza." Trip is like, "Yes."
I mean, they've gone like 4 days now without food, so you have to imagine he was pretty hungry.
I'm surprised they only ordered one pizza for the 5 of them.
I'm laughing at the way how
they each get 1.5 pieces.
Money.
Yeah.
He just like
I could probably eat that whole thing, so.
So about the business, Matthew Thompson a little while back, he said his question is, how did they get a business license and how do they pay taxes without a social security number?
All right.
Are they illegal aliens?
Oh, brother.
Oh man, that is for you to decide at home. That is.
I mean, they're from the future, so technically they're not illegal.
Yeah. Well,
they're just not legal yet.
Oh,
that is such a great point, Josh.
I have no comment. I have no comment.
You know, it's like when I ordered a new parking permit for my car and it hadn't arrived before the old one expired. Like my parking permit was still legal, it just hadn't gotten there yet. So they're just waiting, like I was.
Wow, that's a really good point, Josh. Thank you for that.
Anyway, ratings. Honestly, I like this episode. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Nice.
I think that this again, it was a really solid episode. It did set up a lot for where this series is going, and it gave us a little bit more background on Ransik and why he is the way he is. The only thing that I don't understand is he obviously left some things out of the story that he told Wes.
Well, there's a lot of it's gonna be explained more, some more about his backstory.
Yeah, that's what I was going to assume, because like he was like, oh, they people pushed me away, and they didn't want to deal with me because I was a mutant and blah 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 blah. But then later on, Jen is like, oh well, people actually did try to help him, but he pushed them all away. So like I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see who is on the right side and who is on the wrong side, because I feel like there's more from both sides that we don't know yet.
Yes, there is.
And I'm interested in finding out what those things are.
Yep.
Yeah, I give this episode another. Actually, I'll give it a 4. Okay,
Are you gonna rate it lower than me?
No. I'm actually in between like 4 and 4.5 for this one.
Okay.
Mainly because explanation.
So he's giving it a 4.25.
Yeah.
Maybe a 4.37.
Yes.
But yeah.
Oh man.
Mainly because Ransik's backstory, and again, like you said, Josh, this goes back to the whole acting and having fun while they're doing it, because like you genuinely see them having just like a lots of fun, like Trip grabbing the money, he's like excited just to get some pizza. That you don't really see that in Power Rangers. You don't really see that. So, but yeah, definitely 4/4.5.
So before I give my rating, I kind of have a Josh style question, but not about Time Force, but about this show right here. So, and it's about the grading scale. So we're giving these episode scores like 4.5, 3.5, whenever we could, but we give it a 0 to 5 scale,
Right.
right? And don't get me wrong, we do this on Retro Sentai too. But if we're gonna be giving things like 4.5s or whatever, wouldn't it make sense to do a
Out of
10-point
100?
scale?
Or
Or
out of
no,
100?
yeah, I guess.
Because then it would be a 45 out of 100.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh god.
Well, no, but
That'd be
like,
nine,
it wouldn't
that'd be
make
a
sense
90.
to be
Yeah,
like
90 out
a
of 100.
10-point scale, so it'd be a 9 out of 10.
I mean,
No, we do. I'm just making
Yeah,
fun of
yeah,
ourselves
yeah.
at this point because we do it on Retro Sentai too.
but then when you get to that, then you could give something a 9.5. So then you're gonna be like, oh well, we should do this out of 100 point scale. I just broke his head.
So I'm gonna give this episode a 4.17. I think.
Where did you
I
pull
think,
that number up?
I think it was fairly solid, just like the last one. We get to see the base. We get to see, how they're. I like how they acknowledge like how they're supposed to be making money in 2001. I think that's a lot like often something that gets overlooked in like time travel stuff. And so yeah, I definitely like this episode, and that's why I gave it a 4.17 score out of 5.
Matthew Thomas says no. Take the scale. 5 Rangers, 5 points. There you go.
But what happens when there's 6 or 7 or Dino Charge when there's 10?
Oh boy.
I mean, we do out of 7.
Yeah, we do it out of 7. So whenever there's a new episode, we got to add a point to the scale.
Yeah. Yeah. So episode 1 was 1 out of 1 because it was the first episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll do it out of how many episodes there are. So
by the end, we're gonna be at 40.
Yeah, so we're doing this out of 41, guys. So what's our ranking?
In the chat, we've got Jared Hodges who gave this episode a 4 out of 5. Thomas Franco who gives it a 5. Thomas Franco also says that the graphic novel Sins of the Future is a continuation of Time Force and leads up to Hyperforce. I will get there eventually. I currently have about 150 comics that I've collected over the past couple of months that I need to catch up on as well. So.
Oh boy, man.
By the way, Sins of the Future is actually horrible. So.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna swing around. I'll be right back.
Oh.
Is he? I think he's probably going to get it.
No. Something else. I'm actually really excited about this. I don't know if
Oh, Amazing Fantasy
have
number
you
1.
seen this?
I saw the
No,
yes.
I haven't.
I heard some good things about it.
Isn't Amazing Fantasy? Wasn't that the first book that Marvel ever did?
I think
no,
so.
that was.
Or no, it wasn't the first book. It was a book where some stories were published.
Yeah, and then Amazing.
That's the first book that Spider-Man was in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it was just like that final book 15 was like so popular that even though it got canceled, that's how he got his own full ongoing series.
Yeah. But this one takes characters like Captain America, Spider-Man, Black Widow, and others into like a heavy metal style, like Frank Frazetta.
Kind of like
fantasy world,
kind of like DC's death metal.
Sort of, yeah. But so like on the cover, this is Captain America riding the lion.
Oh.
So I haven't read this yet, but this it came out this past week. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah. There we go.
But anyway, back to Power Rangers.
Yeah, Josh. Now you can interrupt yourself.
Amazing Fantasy 15 was the first appearance of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But no. Overall, so far, so we're 5 episodes into this season. I am actually enjoying it. I can't tell you exactly why. I think I think part of the reason is because just it does seem a little bit more fun than a couple of the past seasons were. Like even if the storylines themselves aren't like holding my attention, the episodes are, because there's again, this kind of goes into I hate bringing this up, but Batman v Superman, I didn't like the story. Like I thought like the acting in it was really good. I thought the cinematography was really good. The direction and like everything about it was good. in my opinion, except for the story.
Because you felt like there was no legit reason for them to be fighting at all.
I mean, that on top of some other things, but because of the bleak and serious tone of it, I wasn't able to get past the issues that I have with the story. But going back to like what I was talking about at the beginning with like Independence Day or Die Hard, the issues that I have with the story don't feel like they're as big issues because it was funny. You could tell that, you know, Bruce Willis was having fun making the movie. You could tell that Alan Rickman was having fun playing that character. You could tell that everyone in Independence Day was enjoying themselves making that film. So that transcended any of the issues that I had with the story, and I just couldn't get past that in Batman v Superman. And some of these past seasons of Power Rangers, I had similar issues with some of the episodes where the fun factor of the episode
wasn't there.
Yeah, it just couldn't win me over with the issues that I had with the story. So
Gotcha.
far this season, even though I've been pointing out all these weird questions, they haven't been taking away from except in a couple of places like I was talking about with the pacing of that weird putt machine knocking the Zords out, like throwing off the pacing a little bit. Outside of those kind of things, it's fun. So I'm able to get past that. Whether it continues to live up to that for me for the next 35 episodes, we'll see. But so far, I'm interested in watching more. Like we're not to the point, like we haven't reached a point yet, or if we even will, where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of done with the season. When is it going to end?
Yeah.
Trust me, I get that. I get that way.
I was on 2 episodes of Lightspeed and I was already ready.
Sometimes I get that way when I'm watching a Sentai season where I get like right in the middle. I'm like, okay, I just want to hurry up the season so I can move on to the next one, please.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. In the chat, we have Paint Chalk World Group failed, I think. He's mentioning a bunch of names: Cole, Denny, Taylor, Alyssa, Max, Merrick. I don't
He's just
know
naming the Wild Force Rangers.
Oh, okay. Matthew Thompson also says that the acting is much better in this season than we've seen in the past. I also understand that Power Rangers for a lot of people is like their first real acting gig. So, like as you watch these people progress, but for me, like with this, like Jason Font, like I'm now curious as to why he didn't get bigger with other things.
He did a few stuff afterwards.
He did some Resident Evil stuff.
Yeah. Well, he was doing voiceovers, right?
Oh,
yeah. I think. And then Erin Cahill, she's done.
Yeah, she has like a lot
bit.
of like Hallmark
Yeah.
stuff. I actually remember seeing her on an episode of Chuck, or she was a bad guy in one of the episodes on that.
Yeah.
She also did. Like
and yeah, Jason Font's gonna be in Legend of the White Dragon.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be pretty cool.
Yep.
But don't get me wrong, him and JDF are like best buds.
Yeah.
You know? So like,
I mean,
like,
that's
once
also part of it. But no, he is a really good actor. Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Smith does the same thing. All of Kevin Smith's friends are in Kevin Smith movies. So like, what's the point of making movies if you can't put people in them that you want to hang out with?
Yeah.
That's the entire point of that.
I hope we get to see some of that in Legend of the White Dragon too, because the Jasons really have like a really fun, cool relationship from what I've been able to tell just by seeing them together. So I kind of hope that they're able to make that come through with the movie. So
I mean, Jason Font is just a fun dude to hang out with too. Like Joe and I were hanging out with him at, I think it was the second Morphicon that we went to. We had like an after party over at Barney's Beanery.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I heard about that story
in Pasadena, and like it's me, Joe, Jason Font, Steve Cardenas were at the bar. Jason Font kept buying shots of, I think, tequila or something, and Steve Cardenas kept walking away. So the shot just kept going to Joe.
Oh.
Man, that must have been a dream to hang out. That must have been a dream.
It's weird for me. Like for me, like that kind of stuff is like totally normal now.
Yeah.
Just from living out here in LA. Like don't get me wrong, there's still people I think that I would fanboy over if I met. But
Yeah,
it would take a lot, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I don't really think, I'd be one of those people to like completely like lose my mind over meeting someone because they're just a person like you and I. But I do think that there are like a very select few where I would like kind of like go crazy.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
if I saw them in person.
if I met Steven Spielberg in person, I'd be
Yeah.
like, hi.
No, if
Yeah.
I met Will Smith, I would probably pass out, scream at the top of my lungs where I lose my voice, or I'd just break down and cry, just be like, I love you, man. I love you, man.
I would love to have a conversation with Will Smith.
Oh, I just want to hang out with him just like for a whole 24 hours, like just spend the day with Will Smith. I'm like, that would be an amazing day for me.
Oddly enough, Elijah Wood is another one.
Really?
Yeah, like I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Elijah Wood, just like about his career in general, because like that's a dude who's gone from, like being like a random extra in Back to the Future to being a main character in Lord of the Rings, and now he's going to be a bad guy in the Toxic Avenger movie.
Like, and he also had that FX show Wilfred. I keep forgetting he's in that show.
Nicolas Cage, another dude. Like that, like he's just like some of these guys who just have like a really weird career is just, I just want to, I would just love to sit and chat with them about like how they make decisions over what roles they're taking and whether they thought that the direction that their career went was the direction that they wanted it to do.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this Painted Chalk World Group Field guy.
It's spam, just spam.
But I'm gonna
get rid of it.
Yeah, sorry, I did not see that earlier. If this lets me, let's see. I'm going to put yours in timeout. So you've got 5 minutes to stop doing that. If you keep doing it when you get back, then sorry.
Banhammer.
So Matthew Thompson says that he has zero interest in Legend of the White Dragon, but now that they announced Mark Dacascos, he's interested.
So yeah,
I mean, I think people just need to wait and see till we actually have a look at the movie, because we really haven't. I mean, we've seen the Kickstarter campaign, but that's really, I mean, Kickstarter campaigns aren't exactly what the movie is going to be.
Yeah,
because it's just the money to give the people.
So people don't even know what the movie's about. They haven't really seen anything of it except for like the suit. So I don't really know why people are so like down on Legend of the White Dragon whenever we haven't really seen anything.
Yeah, I don't. It's fandom.
I mean, remember what happened to the Order, that fan project?
but the difference here is that they just wrapped. They're done filming. Like, this is coming out.
And the Order
for Legend of the White Dragon, like they filmed it. Like, so
I think my thing is I hear about like all kinds of projects that are in development, whether it's like independent stuff or like regular movies or TV shows or whatever it is. And often I'll hear the synopsis for one of them or the pitch for one of them. And I'm like, I have absolutely no interest in this at all. But I don't go on like 30 tweet tangents about why I have no interest in it.
Like, for real.
I'll have a conversation with someone. Like, if someone says, "Oh, why aren't you interested in this?" Sure, I'll talk about it. But I don't, unless prompted to get into a conversation about something that I didn't like, I'm not going to like go on and on and on about why I didn't like something. Like, which is why like when we brought BVS earlier, like I was like, these were my issues with it, but that's it. Let's move on.
Yeah, at this
like,
point,
it was a reference for something. It wasn't me just blasting it just to blast it. But a lot of times, I'll wait and I'll watch. I'll be like, oh, well, I don't have an interest in this, but I'll watch the trailer and be like, yeah, no, I don't have any interest in this, or you know what, this actually looks kind of cool. I'm gonna watch this when it comes out. I had no interest in Zack Snyder's Justice League after having seen the original theatrical cut, but after having sat down and watched it, I'm like, you know what? This was an all right movie. It was an hour and 15 minutes too long, but it was a lot better than what we got in the theater. So
I still can't believe I watched the Snyder Cut twice.
I'm willing to give things a chance as long as there's an element to it that I like, or that seems like something that I would like. And that, that translates over to Power Rangers stuff too. Like, these first 5 episodes, like I said before, like these set up what seems like it's going to be a fun season.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it turns out that way, I'm sure I'll have a better idea of that in within the next like 10 episodes.
Yep.
Probably in the next 5, I'll be able to figure out whether or not I'm actually going to enjoy watching the rest of the season. But at this point, I do. Like I think it's gonna be fun. It's like I like cheesy sci-fi stuff, and this kind of fits that mold for me.
Right.
And that also informs me why Joe might not like it, because he's not into like the cheesy sci-fi things that I'm into. He's not really into. I have to imagine that Corey's probably the same way based off of his reaction to the show. Like that Space Precinct, the show that we were talking about last week. I don't know if either of you actually watched the first episode or not. But,
no, I didn't.
It's the same type of thing. Like Shay keeps telling me, "Oh, we got to watch the rest of the show. We got to watch the rest of the show." And I'm like, "Do we though?" But
really.
But that first episode, it gives it that kind of Alienation. That's another one. It's just fun. Like that's a show. Yeah. Alienation got canceled after the first season, but then it went on over the next like 7 years to have 5 made-for-TV movies because it had such a fan base attached to it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things. But yeah, I don't know. We're just kind of like rambling about random stuff now because
we still have 1 episode left to talk about.
Oh, that's right, we do. We didn't talk about that third one.
Yeah. Josh completely. I think Josh forgot about the episode.
Yeah, I spaced out about I completely forgot about this last one. This honestly, this is probably that first episode that I'm gonna be like, for then.
It was meh.
Yeah.
What?
So I mean, it started off all right. Like with I'm just gonna give a brief overview for this one since I completely
drained the time.
Yeah. So this one's episode 5. Sorry, the last one was episode 4. This is episode 5. It starts off with Wes pulling up in a new car. What was Michael Capone's character's name?
Lucas
is like, oh, this is a dope car. Wes lets him drive it, not knowing that he was a race car driver in the future. He was like, this is a key. You put this in the ignition and turn it to start the car.
I do think that might be the one thing that they wouldn't have known because nowadays we don't have keys.
Yeah, we don't have start and stop buttons on cars.
Yeah. My key is just like it's a fob essentially.
Yeah. So I think that's the one thing that I could go, okay, he probably doesn't know how to put the key in the ignition because that's not a thing that we have anymore on modern cars. Cars.
Yeah. And even like military vehicles, like do you think a tank has a key?
No, it has whatchamacallit, control panel.
On button.
He's like, if you have to hop into a tank and go, you don't have time to fumble around with your keychain and go like, all right, let's go.
Oh, where's the white one? I don't know. I got so many.
Or be like, where's the keys to the tank? I'm like, what keys? Like, what keys?
The keys to the tank.
But anyway, so Lucas like takes Wes for a joyride in the car. Cops pull them over and gives him a ticket for I did enjoy his futuristic driver's license though.
Yeah,
like my name is Lucas and I'm a certified race car driver.
Yeah, the cop didn't even question it. It's just like, like that's
he's
clearly like future tech or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's like very funny.
Oh man.
But yeah, so after that, Wes is like teaching him like all the stuff out of the handbook. When's the last time both of you guys have driver's licenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, how long ago did you take your test?
My road test was by December. Will be a year already. So
my last test was December of 2016.
Okay, so I had to take a test. I mean, obviously I'm a lot older than you guys, so my first test I took a while ago. But when I moved out to California, I had to take the written exam again. I didn't have to take a road test, but I had to take the written exam. And it was so easy. Like I studied for like a day, and then but probably because I've been driving for so long.
Yeah.
Like I think I got like 2 questions wrong, and it was both things that were just different out here in California than they were in Florida. So
Yeah.
But I can like that scene where Wes is like, stop. Children crossing, like he's trying to teach all that stuff to Lucas. I'm like, I don't miss this at all.
And I like how he said, like, I'm a world certified race car driver in 1,000 years. But until then,
999.
Yeah, like for right now, no license, no driving.
Oh man.
So yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, here they are like driving around the Zords without a license. But
Okay,
or well, no, Wes is driving around the Zords without a license. I'm sure all the other guys have licenses from the future.
Zords are made for whatchamacallit, self-defense purposes.
Like a tank.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think
like
the
a tank.
Zords have a key ignition?
Well, I mean, some of the past ones did. They had to put the crystals in.
Oh yeah.
That's technically a key, right?
What about the Turbo Zords? Those were literally cars.
Oh.
I mean,
True.
I'm gonna pull up. I've got notes on this episode here. Let me pull it up. No, I mean, these are just like short notes. It was kind of weird. Like, so as soon as this episode started, I knew that cars were going to be like heavily used in it just because of that. So now Nadira goes out and she's like, "Oh, well, we need cash. Like this is how we're going to survive. So we need to get cash." So she gets them a couple of getaway cars.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well.
And then the Rangers fight fire with fire by getting bikes.
Yeah, right.
I knew
after toys.
After seeing Wes riding a motorcycle in the first few episodes, I kind of had a feeling that was going to be a thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ranger seasons is back in the day, like they all had bikes. You know.
Yeah. Nowadays, no more bikes, cause
no more bikes.
Yeah. What did they call the
well,
vector
in
cycles, right?
Ninja, I think was it Ninja Storm? The Hunter and Blake, they were literally motocross.
and
people, right?
and Dustin too. They were all three of them.
Oh
like,
yeah. Okay.
Motocross cyclers.
Racers or I don't know.
Yeah, motocross racers.
I didn't know what the term was.
So we had the vector cycles,
Mm-hmm.
the Mantomobile, and the Cyclobots. I mean, the Cyclobots are the putties
The
of the
henchmen.
season. Yeah. I just like that their name is something that would fit with vehicles in some way.
Yeah.
I actually think it's because of their design, because they only have like one eye, because Cyclops, Cyclo.
But it kind of works both ways.
But yeah, I didn't notice that. But good point. Good point.
There you go.
Again, in this episode, we get the download from the future that shows them how to merge their weapons together.
Oh, the Vortex Blaster.
Yeah. So I thought that I like that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is the Matrix stuff again. The weapons seemed a little ridiculous. Like just the gun seemed like so big.
Every Ranger
big.
team / Sentai trope, their bazooka weapon is always bigger than the team, which requires pretty much the entire team to hold it up. So
not just like the merged weapon, but just like individual. Like
Oh, you mean the individual bazookas?
Yeah. They reminded me a little of again, I'm referencing another show, Dark Matter. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel for a little while. It's from one of the guys that did the Stargate show. So it has that same kind of feel to it. But one of the characters on it was like the 17-year-old girl who just kind of like ended up on the ship with all of them. And in one episode, she picks up like this gun that's bigger than she is. And that's what this reminded me of. Because like
in a ride along where Kevin Hart was doing the shooting range and he was using a shotgun. He shot it. And it was like Ice Cube was like has a little kick to it. And Kevin Hart's kind of like, that gun should be banned.
But I mean, those are the kind of ridiculous things that I also I enjoy, just because it's like stupid. I'm like, how is this person lifting this weapon? The kickback on this thing has got to be insane.
Yeah.
The recoil's got to be ridiculous.
Right? And like it was first the green I first I saw the Green Ranger that had it, but then the Yellow Ranger had one. I was like, wait, did they just screw up and
They
show...
all have one. They all...
I realized that at the end when they merged them all together, but at first it looked like it was a continuity thing, because I was like, wait a second.
They switch in between, because like sometimes, you know, Jen and Wes are always using like their chrono sabers. Trip is using his vortex weapon. Katie uses her vortex weapon, or sometimes her fists. But yeah, they interchange their weapons. Like sometimes the chrono sabers for close range, vortex for long range, and it differs. Everyone has like, different fighting styles.
One of the other things I noticed in this episode too, that this kind of comes into play a little bit with what we were talking about like a while back with more American shot footage. Sometimes I couldn't tell what was American and what was not American, because like Ransik, you guys told me was obviously he's an American actor.
Full on original.
Yeah, so in the Sentai version, like even if he existed in the Sentai version, they would have had to reshoot the stuff with him. Because he's a totally different guy in this one. But it made me watch, because I was like, okay, well now we're doing the reverse shots of the enemy or of the Rangers while he's talking. So we're getting Ransik on the screen, and then the shot's moving over this way, and we've got the Rangers over here. So are these Rangers that he's talking to, are they the Sentai versions of the Rangers, or are they the American Rangers? Because it could, in theory, be either one, because they're in the costumes and we don't know.
Right.
I know, but then there were other moments where I was like, okay, this is clearly Sentai footage. This is Sentai footage, because like when the cops were coming out of the cop cars and they weren't showing any of their faces, they were only showing the reverse back shots of them. I was like, we can't see them because they're all Asian.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, just because like in thinking about that, it got me thinking about how having more original footage would have given them more control over how they wanted those shots to look, and since Ransik is a new character, they would have been able to do a lot more with him if everything was original. So that's just another check in the box for
cinematography.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's not much more left to this episode. They take him out. They defeat the bad guy. The cache goes back to where it's supposed to be.
Yep, that's it. And Lucas tries to go back and take his road test, but the instructor is just like, "Okay, I'm out of here."
That was funny.
I get this episode a 5 out of 5 for the stupid instructor's face, like him going like, ah! Like while Lucas was trying to chase down Nadira.
That honestly, that's what saved the episode for me.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
What I found weird though is how when he got into the car with Lucas, he said, "All right, let's go," and then Lucas just like puts his foot on the gas and like, "Whoa, where's the?" I'm like, they didn't not even just a mile. You telling him to stop? Like what?
I don't even know what he did wrong. Like
he did nothing wrong.
No,
he's one of those instructors.
I don't remember what movie it was now, but there was a movie in the 80s where it's like an action movie where someone has to chase down the bad guy, but he doesn't have a car, and the bad guy got into a car and drove off. So the good guy had a commandeer a vehicle, and the vehicle that he commandeered was a driving instructor's vehicle. So and while he was teaching this like teen girl how to drive. So, the cop gets into the car. He's like, follow that vehicle. And the camera pans over to the driving instructor. And he's like, okay, slowly take your foot off the brake and put it on the, and the whole thing was him teaching her how to drive through this car chase.
Right.
But then at the end, she had blocked like a semi from going where it needed to go, and the truck driver is like yelling obscenities at the girl driving the car. The driving instructor is like, okay, now extend your arm out the window and extend your middle finger. And I was just like, that's great. And that's what this reminded me of, just a little bit. So it just fun, just because it brought back like thoughts about other things that and Speed.
I gotta watch that movie Speed.
You've never seen Speed?
I've never seen Speed.
Oh man, you have to watch that this week. And
I
report
will
back
try.
on
I will
Saturday.
find time to watch it. I think it's on HBO Max. I could be wrong.
I think it might be just all I want is a report on the car chase scene when Keanu Reeves is trying to get onto the bus.
All right, I'll check it out sometime this week.
All right. In the chat, what would you guys rate this episode? And Bryce and Blackwing, Jonathan,
I
whatever.
told you,
Uh,
5 out of 5 because of the stupid face.
Yeah, that's where you're going with 5 out of 5 because of the stupid face.
Yeah.
For the comedic bits, yeah, I'll give this episode a 4. This episode is a 4. I mean, I was gonna give it a 3, but you know what? As silly as it has this, funny moments, so I'll give it a 4.
I'm giving it a 3.5. Because the episode itself was kind of, yeah. Again with the Zord thing, I'm just like,
I like this again.
because like in other seasons that we've seen, and even in some of these future seasons, like you see that they speed up the sequence when they get into the Zords after a while, because you've seen it so many times already.
Yeah.
And then like every 5 or 6 episodes, they'll do the long one again. So I'm waiting for that moment in here. Maybe that won't be so much of an issue for me. But no,
Yeah.
like I agree with Bryce. I think just like the stupid moments, like when the car, in the very beginning when Lucas is driving Wes around and they get pulled over by the cop, Lucas going through the driving exam and the Mr. Pickett's.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
That's his
Yes,
name.
that's
It's
his
Mr.
name.
Pickett's.
Hey, Mr. Pickett.
That's funny.
Just like the whole thing with them being like, oh, we need cash, like that.
Yeah.
I thought like I like there were a lot of funny moments in this episode. I just felt like the story itself was a little lacking here from the previous one.
You didn't like the Mr. Pickett's origin story?
I mean, if he comes back in a later episode,
Oh yeah, he's like the main boss at the end. He's like he comes back. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's the alliance leader in Hyperforce. So yeah,
You know,
crazy
honestly,
stuff.
that would be so great if like this experience pissed Mr. Pickett's off so much that he spent the rest of the season building his own Zord in order to take out Lucas.
Dude, that's a new we should pitch that to Boom Studios. I think that's a new one shot.
Well, I picked so
Revenge of Mr. Pickett's.
A long time ago, when Joe and I were over at the other channel, we had a podcast that we used to do, and we would do basically fan casting for
Yeah.
I
for
remember
new movies and
Fancast
stuff.
Fridays.
And about the podcast, in addition to picking out the cast and who was going to direct or write the movie, we would also have to give a pitch for what the storyline in our movie was. So when Ghostbusters 3 was first being kind of thrown around before Ghostbusters 2016 came out, or that was announced, we did fan casting for Ghostbusters 3 and what we thought the story was going to be. My pitch was that the dude from the beginning of the first Ghostbusters that Venkman was doing the psychic power tests on, and he kept shocking him, that he was the bad guy because he spent the past 20 or 30 years just fuming over that incident and learning how to connect with occult type stuff, and found a way to unleash demons upon the earth and control them.
That is my new life goal. Make a movie with some throwaway character that seemingly means absolutely nothing, and then make another one 20 years later with the same guy. Yeah.
That kind of thing just seems so fun to me, and
genius.
just completely out there that people would be like, oh, this is stupid. Wait, he's the bad guy?
Yeah.
I think it would be great. Jared Hodges gives this episode a 5 out of 5 because of the weird driving instructor. So he's with you, Bryce. Matthew Thompson gives it 4 rejected driver's licenses out of 5.
That's so funny.
Thomas Franco gives it a 5. And now we have covered all 3 of these episodes for today.
Yeah. There
So
we go.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
An hour and 20.
Almost practically an hour and a half.
We don't really need to get into any of the other stuff that we were going to discuss because I already screwed up and did that earlier. But plugging stuff that we got coming up. Retro Sentai, you guys are doing that in half an hour?
Yeah. Yeah, right after this, I think we're gonna try to get started as soon as possible. So yeah, definitely stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. We're gonna be talking about in today's episodes, tree children are being cut down and murdered. So definitely come
don't
in
even
and
ask, Josh. Don't even ask.
definitely come in and see what all that's about in Retro Sentai directly after this. And then we got a bunch of other shows coming on the channel. We got something for pretty much everybody. We got wrestling show, Star Trek show, Star Wars show. We got our Marvel recaps whenever there's Marvel shows going on. I mean, we got everything. We got the Rick and Morty show. We got something for everybody. So definitely subscribe with post notifications on to be notified of everything coming onto the channel.
And I'm just going to throw this invitation out there again. Wednesday, Jamie and I will be playing Star Trek Online. If either of the two of you want to download that to your PC and play along with us, you're more than welcome to. For you guys in the chat, make sure to follow us on Twitch because that is where we are going to be playing. I might dual stream it to YouTube as well, but it was giving me some weird problems the last time, so I don't know if I'm going to do that again, but I will try. Yeah, Rick and Morty tomorrow night. We are coming. The Marvel show is coming back with What If, so that's August 11th is when that will start.
Yeah.
Bad Batch is coming to an end. If you guys didn't watch our most recent review of that, all of us actually really enjoyed this last episode, which is different from the past couple of them. So that's really exciting. I will see you guys on Wednesday, and I guess you'll see these guys in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes.
More like 5. But
yeah. They're in about 5 minutes, folks. So definitely stay tuned.
All right, we will see you guys soonish.
Later.
Yep. See.
Soonish.